question, the member from Nepean Carleton.
Speaker, my question is also to the Premier, but may I say this first and foremost. This side of the House is appalled that you did what you just did in applauding that Premier after what happened in Ottawa to that family and the disabled son. Now, shameful. Now, to the heart of my matter, Speaker, to the Premier, during your testimony in Justice Committee Tuesday, did you refuse to admit you knew the true cost of the Oakville power plant cancellation exceeded $40 million from the outset because you were under oath?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I answered my questions on the gas plant relocations in committee, Mr. Speaker, and I just want to be clear. I am not going to, and our government is not going to concede the ground on compassion to the people across the floor, Mr. Speaker. That is the party that cut welfare rates, Mr. Speaker. We created the passport program, Mr. Speaker. We have invested in autism, Mr. Speaker, to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars.
You want to slash tax?
Minister of Health and Long-Term Care, come to order. The member from Lambton, Kent Middlesex, come to order. The member from Lanark, Frontenac, Lennox and Addington, come to order. The Minister of Social Services, come to order. Oh, I want you to come to order anyway. Thank you. Premier.
The leader of that party has said, Mr. Speaker, that what they want to do is cut revenue, cut taxes. That means cutting services. He's also said that he believes that everything he did when he was a cabinet minister in Mike Harris's cabinet was exactly what should have happened, Mr. Speaker. We've seen that movie and we're not going there.
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Be seated, please.
Perhaps the Premier is so angry because she did cede compassion to this party when her party decided to prioritize Liberal seats over the people of Ottawa. Now, Premier, Shelley Jameson, Joanne Butler, David Lindsay, David Livingston, and Colin Anderson all testified that your Liberal government was aware of the true cost of the Oakville power plant was over $40 million from the outset. David Anderson said everybody
Member from Natural Resources, come to order.
Said it was buckets of costs. In committee, you refused to admit what you knew and when you knew it, even though you were the campaign chair who made the decision and you were a cabinet minister who met about it. So I want to know, why did she intentionally use the $40 million figure when she knew it was false?
Be seated, please. Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I've answered my questions on the gas plant relocation in committee, Mr. Speaker. So let me talk about some things that I think the party opposite, given their position on fiscal responsibility, some things that they should be interested in, Mr. Speaker, and some reasons they should read the budget. Our deficit projection, Mr. Speaker, is now down to $9.8 billion, a reduction of $5 billion from last year, Mr. Speaker. This is the fourth year in a row that Ontario has achieved a lower deficit forecast. We're going to continue to build on our successes, Mr. Speaker. This budget is going to be about creating...
I'm going to pass phase 1 of the test. The member from Lambton, Kent Middlesex is warned. And anyone else that wants to wow will be warned too. I'm going to show you my resolve. You want the test? I'll pass it. Carry on.
It's going to be about creating jobs and working to improve people's everyday lives, Mr. Speaker. We're moving ahead on 60% of the Drummond Report recommendations, which is something that has been coming across the floor at us, Mr. Speaker. We are making changes. We are transforming government. We are going to be creating jobs and making people's lives better. I think the party opposite should read the budget and then decide how they're going to vote on it.
Thank you. Final supplementary.
That was cute. Speaker, we did read the budget. It's been 10 long years of Liberal rule that has cost us jobs, that has cost us our healthcare system, that is costing us our prosperity, that cost us our have status in this province. But let's get back to the politically motivated decision to save Liberal seats in the last election, the one where she knew it was going to cost well over $40 million from the outset. That strikes at the very heart of our democratic principles in this province. But you know what else strikes at the heart of our democratic principles? By refusing to call a confidence motion that this party has tabled. It is clear, having spoken to the public in the last week, and Tim Hudak will allude to this later today, that your government has lost confidence in the people. And they have lost confidence in you. My question for the Premier, if she can listen for 2 seconds, is this. Will you call our confidence motion for debate? Will you call it for a vote? Or will you simply table your budget and call...
Seated, please. Premier.
Speaker, I have extreme faith in the people of Ontario, and I believe that they deserve a government that is focusing on their needs and understands that their everyday lives have been tough in the last few years, Mr. Speaker, and that they're worried about whether they're going to get home care for their loved ones, Mr. Speaker. They're worried about whether their children, their adult children, are going to get a job, Mr. Speaker. They're worried about whether their small town is going to be able to flourish because the roads and bridges need to be maintained, Mr. Speaker. And they talk to their town councillors, and their town councillors say, well, we've talked to the government, and we need a roads and bridges fund because we need this small town to have that support. We're providing that, Mr. Speaker. That's what we're putting in our budget. Those are the issues that we're going to be focusing on, Mr. Speaker. And I really hope that the member opposite takes the time to look at the budget, takes the time to see what's there, and think about what her constituents are talking to her about in terms of their everyday lives, and that she'll then consider whether she's going to support the budget or not, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Your question.